Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are watching us today from. Welcome to yet another session from the Hindu Academy team. Today, we are running part 2 of last week's session, which was based around Jay Lakhani as we saw him reflecting on the life of a modern Hindu tutor. So if you are new to this broadcast, the way this broadcast normally works is we have a Q&A session that lasts for about 55 minutes. We meet every Saturday at 2 o'clock UK time. And the place you can watch us on is youtube.com/Hindu Academy or facebook.com/Hindu Academy. So today is part 2 of our tribute to Jay Lakhani. And what I'd like to do is start off by sharing a prayer, and then I will share the agenda for today, and we will get forward with the rest of the program after that. So let me just share our video, which has a prayer.
Our class will sing some Vedic hymns.
सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय ॐ शान्ति 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 ॐ असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः.
So there you go, a wonderful start to today's session with some lovely prayers. And what I'd like to do is just quickly share the agenda for today. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be having Manish Bhai, Sita Ben, Vijay Bhai throughout the rest of the session. We will have Tony Leong sharing Jay Bhai's school story and also then sharing Jay Bhai's academic records with us. We will then move on to a clip from Vivekananda play organized by Jay Bhai. And then after that, we will look at Vivekananda and the divinity of man. Following this, we will have a little clip that will show Jay Bhai's way of worship, seeing God in humanity. Followed by that, we will have some images from Hindu Academy, and then we will have some tributes from viewers. And then after that, we will have a little clip that shows science and spirituality, trying to bridge the gap between the two. And we will then have Tony's views on shall science meet religion. Then we will have Jay Bhai's message to us, which is Swami Vivekananda's message of strength. And we'll look at another question, may I be born again and again? did he want to work for forever? And then finally, we'll look at how will Sanatan Dharma spread across the globe. So to help me carry this program forward, I'd like to call upon Manish Bhai. Manish Bhai, please let us kick off the program with the video from Tony.
Thank you, Nisir Bhai. No, yet ready. If you can play the first one.
Sure, I will get that done. Bear with me one moment as I pull up the video.
So yes, we've had a nice long chat with Tony Bhai. He was a great friend of Jai Bhai since I think Jai Bhai came to UK long time back, and when he was 14, he met Tony, and they've been friends ever since. And they've shared some amazing, secrets with each other. So here he's sharing his views on Jai Bhai. So let's have a look at that.
I am excited to see what is being revealed in this video myself. So viewers, hold on to your chairs. Here we go with the video.
The makings of Dilip Lakhani. You probably know he's Gujarati, from East Africa originally. His father was a coffee importer, and I think he went to school in the young days up to the age of 14 in Dar es Salaam. And when he came to England, his father bought a small maisonette. It's like a quarter of a house. It's like half a semi-detached house in Wembley, 6 League Gardens. And he went to the nearest school, a stone throws away, an independent school, small, it only had about 120 students. And he entered the 4th year, or for 14, 15-year-olds, 2 years before the GCSEs. And he was a most brilliant student. I thought I was the most brilliant student in the whole school history, which doesn't say much. But when I saw Dilip, what he was capable of, I said, oh my God, he's so much smarter than me. I wasn't jealous. I said, well, how remarkable was. In a biology exam, I would write maybe 5 or 6 pages and come top normally. And he would write maybe 11, 12 pages or 13 pages, so much more. Perhaps he had a faster writing, faster pace of writing. But no, he was smarter and knew more, maybe better schooling and better brain power, more brain power. But when he was, actually 2 stories. One illustrates his character, and one illustrates his brilliance. Second story, we used to go to a gymnasium every Wednesday morning, and there was a naval, ex-Navy Marine perhaps, or sailor, who was in charge of the exercises. And one day, he thought for a bit of fun, we'd have a wrestling match between 2 students of our class. I don't remember much about my bout, but it was a bit of a tussle. But he had a rather weird sort of distorted sense of, what can I say, humour. He pitted Dilip Lakhani, the slightest, or the thinnest, weakest looking student in our year, against one of the strongest and biggest. I said, this is total mismatch. What's he trying to do? Humiliate Dilip, or is it white supremacy? I know, I wasn't sure what to think of it. But Dilip was very game for it. And we all knew that the boy Mora, twice as big as Dilip, would easily trip him up and sit on him and make him give up. But Dilip tried every move that he could to try and trip Mora up or fall, make him fall. And he was very, very tenacious. And Mora, he took it all on board and toyed with him for about 2 or 3 minutes. And then everyone knew that Mora just had to do one move and Dilip would be finished. And eventually he did terminate the contest by just tripping him up and sitting on him. But even when he was sat on and he couldn't even move a muscle, he still tried to get Mora off. I said, who is this guy who is so never gives up? who's believes in himself totally, and also has a good sense of humor, because I think he was smiling even though he was sat on like somebody twice as big as him. It's like elephants sitting on a mouse. But that shows his spirit. It's totally unflappable. And Swami Vivekananda would say, if you have define religion in 3 words, it would be strength, strength, and strength. So, and you can learn more from the Gita playing football than you can be studying books. The way it may well be that's when Swami Vivekananda was giving his Jnana Yoga talks in London, Victoria Hall. He was his place where he stayed was right next to a school. You could hear the shouts of the school playing football.
There we go, Manish bhai. You ready with the next one? There's so many little interesting things there.
Before we start on the next one, let's hear a view from Sitaben about Jai Bhai's spirit. I think he was this pillar of strength, and if you could have some words from Sitaben and Vijay Bhai on that, please.
Yeah, I mean, Dad was always extremely sort of calm in the face of adversity, and that's something that he always sort of told me, because I'm a bit like a rabbit. I sort of pop about and get scared with every little thing and get stressed about every little thing. But he would always tell me, calm down, we'll figure out a solution. And that was the case throughout his life. He sort of guided me in that way. It's very sort of easy to just talk about it. I'll just stay calm. But when you're sort of faced in a stressful situation, whether it be through work or through, I don't know, university or whatever it is, he'll help me sort of get through it. And he has been through so many things throughout his life in his own business, through, health difficulties, all sorts of things. And he's always been extremely sort of calm and very level-headed. And that's something that he always tried to sort of drum into me, but I'm still always like a scared little rabbit. And I always get worried about everything, but I'm trying my best to sort of copy what he did and manage things in the way that he did. I don't know if Vijay Bhai's got any words on it.
All I can add is that working with him for the last 20 years in the Hindi Academy is that he has this never give up attitude, and the challenges are immense. I mean, to start Hinduism classes when there were not hardly any around, and to make it grow, face challenges, from the community, all kinds of challenges. But he was that kind of spirit who never gave up, and he's also fought in the QCA, which is the Curriculum Examination Board in the UK, to promote the right kind of Hinduism, comprehensive Hinduism. And it's not as easy as it looks, because we are challenging a mindset of, kind of people who believe that they know about Hinduism because they've been ruling India for so many years. And for Jai Bhai to take all these boards head on, it's very daunting, but he had this never give up attitude. And I have actually been to some of these forums with him. And believe me, when it's required, he can actually really fight his corner and make sure that people get the message through. So it's always been that case for him, never give up. And even for me, when I kind of slack a bit or something happens, because we have to always be on alert and always move, always fight. And that's what makes a human spirit alive, to fight and strive, in the face of adversity. And that's what Jai Bhai was really. Yeah. That's what I can add to that. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you, Sitaben, Vijay Bhai, for sharing those wonderful things. We'll see a next video about Tony talking about the academic record of Jai Bhai. So we'll share the next video.
Story. It's very interesting. It shows his academic prowess. Now, we took Cambridge Board GCSE, which was very hard. And Dilip even though the school did not teach 3 separate sciences for 3 different exams, it only took a 1 general science exam. I taught myself 3 sciences, had my own school, laboratory in my home, if you like. But Dilip, through academic study, he not only could study all these GCSE books himself, as I did, but he could also study A-level books, A-level physics, A-level maths, while he was studying GCSEs. I think he attended a part-time course in the technical college. Mm-hmm. He took his GCSEs with his A-levels, or rather his A-levels with his GCSEs, and he scored the top marks in 2 of the science exams, physics and chemistry. He was best at physics, and maths, the highest marks, A grade. But he forgot to attend to take his biology exam. So I beat him, and as a result, I had 3 GCSEs, and I won the school science prize. Because I got 3, but he got 2 higher grades. He won the maths prize, I think. And but he did get a D and an E, which was very creditable for his A-level maths and physics. 1 year later, he retook the exams. He took a full-time course, 1 year crack course in A-level physics and maths and applied maths, and I think he got top grades and got into Imperial University or Imperial College, one of the best in the UK and one of the best in the world to study physics. And when I visited him in his digs in Brompton Road, which is about a kilometre away from Imperial College, now near the South Kensington Museums, he showed me his room, and on the top shelf of his bedroom was 11 books on complete works of Swami Vivekananda, because he visited India, and 2 books on physics. And he told me that Swami Vivekananda lectured in English, mainly in America and England, and I should get the 8 volumes in English and study them as well as I could. And I did that, and I read them in the summer holiday, and I thought they answered nearly all my questions that I had in my mind. And that's why I wanted to join the monastery and study under one of the great swamis of the order and understand and see if I could realize the true being within myself, the Atman and Brahman, so to speak, Chayam Atma Brahma, and Tattvamasi, and Brahma Pragyanam, and Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma. All this is verily Brahman. Brahman is pure consciousness. And later on, Dilip would use one of the Mahavakyas to say that consciousness underpins all the laws of physics.
Wonderful message from Jay Bhai and Tony. Thanks. Wonderful to have him share all these stories from their school days and how they talked about spirituality and got involved in spiritual life that they led. Sita-Ben, any words on that video?
Yeah, I mean, it's really lovely sort of hearing, because Dad's talked to me about, his sort of interactions with Tony during his school days, and they spent a lot of time actually having very sort of spiritual discussions. And as Tony mentioned in the video, Dad sort of introduced him to the complete works and the teachings of Swami Vivekananda. And the thing is, once you sort of pick up those books and you read the amazing material there, it's completely life transforming. And it was completely life transforming for Tony. He went off and became a monk in the Ramakrishna Mission, and it completely transformed Dad's life in a very different way, because he became a householder later on and Tony became a monk. But it shows that you can make the same sort of spiritual journey in very, very different ways. And that's the beauty of this whole tradition, is you can sort of see the same wonderful material, but you have a different take on it, and you take your own sort of spiritual journey. Tony and my dad remained really good friends throughout the whole of their lives. And it's just wonderful to see that, it's not just something confined to the Indian subcontinent and Indian people. Even somebody of the Chinese origin is able to relate to this beautiful spiritual gems that we have. And that's just the beauty of the teachings of Swami Vivekananda. Vijay Bhai, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, not much to add, but I mean, I've met Tony a couple of times. Very nice person, very talkative. But all I can say is that talking to Jay Bhai a couple of times about his early years, and he did mention that while he had a love for science, he had an even bigger love for spirituality. And by the way, he had all these complete works of Swami Vivekananda in Gujarati. Although it's English for Tony, for Jay Bhai, it was in Gujarati. But he goes that the tremendous spoon that he had and drove from Vivekananda, it was a struggle because either he can pursue an academic career and become an academic in science or spirituality. But I think his heart knew eventually that although he had love for both subjects, he knew where his heart truly lied, which is in spirituality. And thank God for that, because we all of us are the beneficiaries of his immense words. So yeah, brilliant. Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, Manish Bhai.
Thank you, Vijay Bhai and Sita Ben for sharing that. So what happened after this Imperial College studies? Jay Bhai's father passed away, and then he wanted to do a PhD on link between science and Vedanta, but that didn't happen because he got into his family business and then later on household life. So that got put on the back burner. But he related to the Swami Vivekananda, and as part of the Hindu Academy works, he did some of his plays, and let's watch one of his play, a clip from one of his play that he organized. And Nisit Bhai, could you please share the clip?
Yep. So we have a play from way back in 1996 that was organized by Jay Bhai. Here we go.
To mankind. Temples and churches are outer crust, hiding spirituality. I wish to tear them apart and let spirituality flow out. Calm down, my son. You have the power to rock humanity. You can uproot all religions from this earth, but you are not here for that. Time has come to the world to see the unity behind all religions. Narayan will show this unity. To accomplish this, you will have to go to the West. I will gladly do that. Will they heed me? You will have to be patient. It took them 1,000 years to recognize me. It will take time for the West to know your true worth. But the day will come when the whole world will sing your glory. The West worships the God of science. This God gives immense physical powers and no end of toys to play with. They crave for newer and newer excitement of the senses. They have no room for spirituality. I have taught them renunciation, but they wallow in self-indulgence. Who will awaken them? I will. Science is the noble search for unity in this diverse-looking world. But you are not really looking for this unity, are you? You only want science to provide you with more and more ways to enhance your animal pleasures. You only want science to provide you with more and more ways to increase your lust and greed. You are not fit to be called scientific. You are only fit for miracles. What good will it do you to go to the temple and bow down to God? Greed and lust fill your heart. What room have you for Him? Stop for a moment and listen. Is there music You live in noise, the noise of a rat race. How will you hear the song of the eternal soul? Do you really want pleasure? You have no idea what pleasure is. All your life you have been chasing shadows until you control your inner world, your mind. You search in vain. This pleasure, this bliss is your very own nature. Why do you foolishly search for it in the external world? I claim to know that unity that science seeks. I know the one, by knowing whom you know everything else in this world. I hold the key to spirituality in this age. Oh, children of immortal bliss, come, come and claim your inheritance.
Back to you, Manish Bhai.
So there you see wonderful messages of spirituality from that Jai Bhai play. Any memories from that, Sita-Ben?
Yeah, I remember, remembering those lines, and right from those days, Dad was the one who trained me how to speak. He kept saying, slow down, speak really slowly and calmly so everyone can hear you. But it just resounds with the message of Swami Vivekananda. And what he did was he created a number of plays. So, there's the story of how Ramakrishna met Jesus. So he'd done a play on Ramakrishna meets Jesus. Then he sort of did one on a take on Vivekananda meeting Jesus, which is what this one was. He also did a play called Avatars as well. So where he got all the children from our Sunday class to play different avatars and how they sort of interact with each other. And it was just a brilliant play as well. So, he was very, very sort of articulate in the way he sort of put together the whole play. He directed all of us and got our costumes ready. And the whole thing was so much fun. And what we used to do, every sort of Christmas Eve, the whole class would go to the Ramakrishna Mission and we would perform. Every year, Dad would come up with a new play to perform at the Ramakrishna Mission. And it was so much fun. It was something that we actually look forward to doing every Christmas. And then on top of that, Tony is also incredibly articulate and amazing in the way he produces songs. And we actually learned some of his songs in the Vivekananda class. Vivekananda, you came to the West and gave your best, and we learned all the actions, and we did that at the Ramakrishna Mission, and everyone loved it. So yeah, it was Dad writing plays and Tony writing songs, and we used to make these wonderful sort of performances with all the children. And I just look back on those as the golden days, really. Jai Bhai?
All I can add is that, I think also my children have been one or two plays. And I think that's one of the great traits of Jai Bhai, that he knew how to direct the message of spirituality to different targets and age groups. So he realized that to get subtle messages across, plays is one of the best ways, especially from a younger age. So he's very good at that kind of technique as well. So yeah, that's all I can add on that. Yeah.
Wonderful stuff, Vijay Bhai. So Jai Bhai was massively impressed with Swami Vivekananda and his message. Now Nisit Bhai will play the next video about Swami Vivekananda's message of divinity in man.
The unique feature of this prophet of our times is that he says, you have been bowing down to a superhuman being, perhaps hiding behind the clouds, sitting in the seventh heaven. Time has come to shift the spiritual approach that you adopt. The thing that you are searching for in the heavens, crying to, praying to, is really here and now. It is your true self. It is your very own nature. So this idea of breaking your backbone, bowing down to images, cracking coconuts, time has come to shift the emphasis, give the highest dignity to man. The highest worship of this God is not sitting and ringing, tinkling some bells in front of images. The highest worship of God is service to man. Because here stands your most transparent image of divinity shining in the eyes of every living thing. If you wish to worship this God, give the hand, interact with this God who is in front of you. This is the unique message of Swami Vivekananda. He has brought the idea of God not as a personality, but as a principle that stands behind every living thing. This is the unique feature of Swami Vivekananda.
In his own words, he said, my mission was to awaken the divinity, to make people realize that they are really divine. Each soul, he said, is a potential divinity. Divinity we need not take in the sense of only spiritual manifestation, but in every field of life. Unimaginable potentialities are lying within each one of us.
So we saw the video about Swami Vivekananda's message of divinity within man. And with all this knowledge, Jai Bhai was very keen to, establish the Hindu Academy, and he wanted to give this message out to the whole of the world. And he was able to get on to the BBC and present some of his messages. So we'll share next video, which is about, there was a program on Are Many Gods Better Than One? And that was one of the first one he went on, and he captivated the audience and got real success. So let's watch that video.
I believe this is the video that was quite popular online as well. And
Yes.
has been widely shared on many platforms. So here goes the video.
Good morning again, Jay. How are you
Good morning.
doing?
Hi there.
Yeah, many gods better than one. Hinduism is an incredibly interesting religion.
Indeed.
I've read about it a lot over the last
Indeed.
week or so.
Indeed.
Very complex, very flexible, and very many people believe many different things.
Indeed.
But some of whom believe in many gods and goddesses.
Indeed. You see, Hinduism is sometimes misunderstood to be a polytheist religion, means believing in lots of ultimate realities. This is a contradiction in terms. You can't have more than one ultimate, because it's not ultimate enough. Hinduism has never been a polytheist tradition. It has always been a very mature, pluralistic tradition. Not many gods, but many ways to relate to the idea of spirituality. It can incorporate monotheism, means accepting one supreme personality. It can incorporate non-theistic approaches as well as non-religious approaches for making spiritual progress. This is called spiritual democracy, and the love word is religious pluralism. Many pathways for exploring spirituality.
So it's the same. There is one ultimate supreme being.
Not being, we say it's a principle that underpins this reality, which is essentially spiritual rather than material, that manifests itself at different layers. As the material level, and this demarcation between, if you like, man, God, and universe is very artificial. It is time we demolish this artificiality.
Is this the way out? Is this the way out for the Church of England out of their current problems?
In fact, the debate.
Earlier on, you would think they were talking about different gods.
I'm listening to Jay and thinking, gosh, perhaps I'm a Hindu, and I.
In fact, the word pluralism in a way resolves the issue of intra-faith dialogue as well. Forget about interfaith, intra-faith dialogue. Because this is the way I relate to the idea of spirituality. This is the way you relate to the idea of spirituality. So there are
different aspects to
different ways of relating to the idea of spirit.
The supreme power,
ultimate reality.
And there are different ways of seeing that supreme power. The supreme power has many different faces and relating to
In fact,
Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva,
whatever, and as a principle even, not as a personality, as a principle that underpins reality called spirit. So in a way, this gives freedom for different people, depending on their own temperament, to relate to the idea of spirituality suited to their own temperament.
And some are goddesses too.
Indeed. Why should God always be a father? Mother goddess is my lovely idea as well.
Yeah.
So there we see wonderful video of Jai Bhai explaining wonderful message of pluralism and spiritual democracy. This video is very popular. Some people have put it on Facebook and they've got a big number of views. on YouTube, this one has over about nearly 2 million views, and different people have put on and got many views there. Sitaben, any message about his work with the BBC?
Yeah, I mean, whenever he was, getting ready for these sort of, big sort of, shows like this, he would, in the house, like all the lights would be on, he would be getting ready, getting his orange jacket ready and ironing everything. And, and then he would go really charged up, he would sort of, hold in his hand, he would sort of do a little thing with his hand just to sort of build up that inner strength. And he would go on with this really sort of powerful energy. And you can really feel it before he went on, that sort of wonderful energy. And and you know that he's going to, sparkle when he does that. Sorry, it's really difficult to talk, but he just had this amazing power. Vijay bhai?
I think that's the thing, because every kind of lecture I've been to, any kind of program I've seen, he's always very passionate about the idea of promoting Hinduism. And the key idea has always been spiritual democracy and pluralism. And the idea of, again, which you mentioned earlier, of the idea of seeing God in man, the divine spirit in every human being. These have been the three powerful facets. And no matter what talk you go to, the passion which comes out of him shows it's not just a person giving a talk. He actually believes in it. It actually is part of his body. The energy is pervasive in his entire body. And that's why you really love to listen to him, because he's actually living that, not just talking. He's actually living that message, yeah. And that's the beauty about it. And that's something we sorely miss. But we have what can you do? We have his videos now, I guess, to watch. But yeah, always amazing to watch him when he talks. Yeah, Manish bhai.
Thank you, Sitaben, Vijay bhai, for sharing that. So next, what Jai Bhai, I think he didn't pray and he believed in God in humanity. That was one of his, main, I think, idea. And that's what he loved. We'll see next video about him talking about seeing God in humanity. Nisit Bhai, could you please play the video?
All of us is central in the Hindu religion. There's something very unique and different, which is not material, not mental, not intellectual. That is my essential nature, something different that I am. And that is what everybody is. This is called Atman. So we are all basically divine. We are all spark of the divine, but we misbehave. That's part of the play. But we are all the spark of the divine. This is what Hinduism teaches. But you see, we have difficulty in relating to this spirit and say, what is it? Because it's so abstract. And the second best thing we have in the Hindu tradition is we've got incarnations. We've got, if you like, just imagine, this spirit is so abstract that we'll never be able to grab or grasp, or however intellectual we are. Not because we are kind of failing, it is so subtle, so sweet. Even intellect is too crude to capture it. Not because it's so fuzzy. It is so sweet and deep that intellect saying, I can't grab it. It's that's your nature, spirit. This is what your religion says, but it's difficult, Dilip uncle, I can't get to it around my... Oh, but don't worry, you got a second choice. You got the avatars, the incarnations. Here, the spirit takes on a human form and comes and interacts with you. That's why we love Ram, that's why we love Krishna, that's why I love Vivekananda. Here is the spirit taking on a body, a human form, coming in front of us and saying, now do you relate to me? You are searching for that abstraction. Look, I'm material. You can touch me even. You can pinch me. I'm here. This is the second best we have. We can see the spirit through this great manifestation, this great avatar, so these great personalities, the super personalities of ancient and modern India. So we are getting better. Does it stop there? No. This is what this little girl asked. First, you were struggling with the idea of spirit as abstraction, then you were this incarnation, at least I can really, yes, Ram and Krishna, I love them. Vivekananda, okay, Dilip uncle, we'll let you off, you can love him. But then this thing becomes more generalized. Why should I say that the spirit only becomes visible as Vivekananda when I have all of you sitting in front of me? Each and every one of you is nothing but the spark of the spirit. The same thing, kind of the same thing lighting each and every one of you here. So why should I be worried about how to relate to the abstraction? I see it in front of me as humanity. And seeing God in man and serving God in man and interacting with God, with man as God, is what your religion teaches. So you may start off saying too abstract, less abstract with Ram and Krishna and all these great avatars and the saints. No, become more generalized. Don't stop there. Even what you call ordinary, there's nothing ordinary about anybody here. Everybody is extraordinary. It's the spirit shining. When I begin to see God in man, when I see the same thing that I was searching for here, and in so many forms, not just one Vivekananda, but in so many forms, I'm overwhelmed. I say, oh dear, I'm having fun. I'm playing with my Lord. I'm playing with my God here. So, extending the dignity, not just living it to the saintly personalities, but to the ordinary man, ordinary human, ordinary men and women. Dignify them. Give them that treatment. And you see, I'm talking like that, you may think it sounds very poetic. When this Vivekananda, was in the West, and if he saw any women or girls or anything, he was very playful. And you look at a girl, and you say, ah, mother. And you know what happened to the poor girl? Because you should never, if you're in front of a God-man, when he used the word mother, he's saying the mother goddess in you, you are in trouble. So that little girl would get charged up. This used to happen. She would get charged up, dance about. We have flowing hair and wonder about like the mother goddess for a few hours. You have to call her down, stop it. You see, you charged them up. You dignified them. You lift them up. For the first time, they recognize, because this man saw it in your eyes, saw it in you, and he lifted you up. He used to do that day and night. This man was dangerous. Imagine he lifts you up and tells you, shows you your dignity, gives you your true dignity, divinifies you. It used to happen regularly with him. Imagine how lucky would be the people who met him, who came across him, who sat with him. How lucky, how lucky. Because they had it free of charge. Without putting any effort, they had hit the jackpot. This used to happen all the time.
Vijay Bhai, any words on that video?
No, all I can say, that is the essence of the message that Jai Bhai has been promoting all this time. And also that's the message of Vivekananda. I mean, I have the same 9 volumes of Swami Vivekananda. And that's the message comes out again and again, to see divinity in man and realize that actually we are far more than just a lump of material. And that's been the essence of Jai Bhai's message. And to be frank, this is the message which the modern youth want to hear. Not all these rituals and whatever, while they're important, they've got their own place in society. This is the message that everybody wants to hear. And Jai Bhai was very strong proponent of this message. And it's wonderful to see these videos. And I have no doubt, at least not now, but in the near future, this will become the most prominent message in the world on how to see the spirit, not just something abstract in the heaven, but shining through the sparkle of the eye of every human being. And that's something that Jai Bhai has mentioned again and again. But I think because they're so used to only focusing on the God in the heavens, we forget that God is all pervasive. It's everywhere, avatars and us. And that's something that, we have to refresh the message again and again, make people realize they're far more than just a lump of matter. Sita, man?
Yeah, I mean, this is something that's really special about Dad, is that, he would talk about these things, but it's not just talk. He lived it. Every day he lived it. Anywhere, anyone he came across, somebody in the supermarket who's working, or, he used to go swimming every day, people at the swimming pool, he would just really interact with people in such a wonderful way that everyone just felt so happy and uplifted. He would just make some funny little comment, or, just sort of lift somebody's spirits, saying, oh, yeah, I don't know, I love your hat, or, just something silly. And, it would just lift people, it would just give them that smile. Or, there's a little child walking down the road, he'll sort of make some funny comment and give them a chocolate or something. And, they would just laugh and have a really wonderful time. So for Dad, it wasn't just talk, he really meant it. And that's the beauty of it.
Wonderful to hear that, Sita Ben, that he actually lived that. And I believe so too. That was his central, I think, way of worship God. He worshiped God in humanity. And that's why he set up the Hindu Academy to give this knowledge to anyone who wanted to learn about it. And now let's see some of the images of the Hindu Academy. Nisit bhai, could you please play the next video? Wonderful stuff there. So we saw, Jai Bhai presenting Sanatan Dharma messages to everywhere. Anyone who wanted to listen, wanted to invite, he would go there happily and talk about, whether you have 10, 15 people or you have a big hall full of people, he will go with his full energy and he will dish out message of spirituality to all his, all the people that he saw God in. So he saw God in everyone. So he didn't hold back. He gave out and that regularly on even internet with our live Q&A session. So let's get some tributes from people that were inspired and affected by him. Nisit bhai, could you please play a tribute?
Jai Bhai, it was a pleasure to have got to know you and spend Saturday afternoons on a Zoom session with you. I hope we can carry on with your legacy and promote Hinduism to many out there. Like we promised, we would try and get 10,000. I don't think we've quite managed that yet, but we will carry on in doing that. You certainly left us too soon, too early. This is Meena Ben from Dudley. Jai Shri Krishna.
Now, I have another 1 or 2 tribute videos. Shall I just play them now?
Yes, please.
Hi, I'm Himanshi Joshi. myself, my wife, and my children had the wonderful opportunity to study with Jay, having done O-levels and A-levels in Hinduism. We really appreciated his clarity, knowledge, and practical application of Hinduism, and also his humor. Some of the sessions were very, very funny and entertaining, and I think that helped us learn. So we are very privileged to have worked with him, and it's been a great honor to have been taught by him. He is a great loss to Hinduism, and we really do appreciate his effort in bringing rational Hinduism to the UK and to the world. Thank you very much.
I do have one more, which I will pull up again. Bear with me. I will just prepare this.
Okay. In the meanwhile, if I can read out one or two messages from last week. Charmaine said this message last week. Sorry, my word is playing up now. Give me a second.
Let me play this video while you start.
Jai Shri Krishna, we miss you, Dilip Bhai, but I know as a true follower of Swami Vivekananda, you would not want us to miss you. You would say that, follow what I did, take my vision forward. So I pray to the divinity to guide us, to inspire us, to enlighten us. And wherever you are, you can continue to do that and inspire us so that we can take your vision forward to the rest of to our community and the rest of humanity. But also, we are so honored and privileged to have learned Hinduism from you. You taught us the Advaita aspect of Hinduism, that we are all connected. We are all chip of the old block, as you used to say. And what a refreshing and profound way of looking at humanity, what a liberated way to think about spirituality. And that was really empowering for all of us. So thank you. We cannot thank you, in fact, enough. Really appreciate your presence in our life. And you also taught us how to ask questions, relevant questions. You used to say it's better to be a bombastic agnostic and ask questions than blindly follow Hinduism just because somebody told you to believe that. And I think that's what we found so refreshing, especially for the new generation, because that's how we learn things. So you taught us to learn Hinduism and aspects of Hinduism without just blindly following things, but actually asking questions, which I think is so much needed in our society today. But also, you taught us how Hinduism is very compatible with spirituality and even the theory of evolution, and is again so much needed in our society today. The pluralistic aspect of Hinduism, as there are so many pathways to God and the divinity or spirituality or universe, whatever you want to call it, and as many paths as we all are as humans. And again, what a liberated view of an authentic spirituality. So thank you for teaching us that, and please continue to inspire us, guide us, and enlighten us so that we can take your vision forward.
Wonderful messages from some of the people who've studied Himanshu Bhai, Alpaben. They've been working with us, and they have, we've got some of their videos as well, which are on the YouTube channel. And thank you for supporting us. So we see, Jai Bhai continuing this work, and what his special message, what his special work was this. Scientific spiritual humanism. He said, the Sanatan Dharma or spirituality, if it has to make sense, it has to be rational. We should be able to relate to it in the modern world. So he tried to link the science and spirituality together. And let's view his next video, which is about science and spirituality and spiritual humanism. Mr. Bhai, could you please play that one?
Yep, sure. I'll get that one up. This is quantum mechanics and spiritual humanism.
Yes.
Okay, sure.
The task I have set myself up with is as follows. just in 18 minutes, I'm trying to rescue the religions of the world from this super personality called God sitting in the heaven and cracking a whip. In the same 18 minutes, I've taken a task of freeing the scientific mind from this fixation on this pesky little fellow called the atom. And in this 18 minutes, I've set myself a task of freeing the humanist from a very undignified vision of humanism they have, which says that you are nothing more than bits of carbon that got wound up in this very complex manner through accidents of evolution. They are telling you are all accidents, there's nothing more to you. So I'm going to challenge all these three paradigms and present to you as something very unusual and very interesting that lies at the heart of science as well as the concept of spirituality. Let us start the journey. I come from the science lobby. I studied quantum physics under Sir Roger Penrose. So I'm not some hippie Hindu with hippie physicist. I've studied my subject thoroughly. And you see, in science, how did science progress? What is science all about? Very simple enterprise, very durable enterprise, very useful thing that we've done for thousands of years. How did it progress? We first noticed this world around us has got little objects. And all these objects that we see have certain characteristics, certain attributes. So water flows, fire burns. Oh, we are clever. This is the difference between animals and humans. We begin to make sense. We see patterns in nature. And then we try and articulate and see how we can relate to these patterns and extend our power of predictability. What will happen when we put our finger in the fire? This is what science is about. It gives you rules of thumb in order for you to get a handle on reality. It works very well. This is how science progresses. The problem with science is this. It started off the journey saying object or matter and its attributes. Then he said, now let us take this further. So it's like a Russian doll. Suppose you got atom, let's open up the atom. Oh, atom has got three particles, oh, neutrons and protons, electrons. Oh, let's open them up. Again, a little lump of matter and its attributes. Oh, it has got charge, a mass, a spin. Oh, quantum number, wonderful stuff here. So what we have done is this simple habit that we have of trying to relate to reality in terms of object and its attributes, we continue to extend it into the smaller and the realm of the smaller and the smaller and the smaller. Russian dolls. But without recognition, I told you, we use ploys in every field, in religion as well as in science. This is a ploy. In order for us to get our minds around the nitty-gritty of this reality, we produce these elementary particles and attributes. We suddenly recognize that this thing of Russian dolls suddenly loses its material status and enters a metaphysical status without us acknowledging it. This is modern physics. It has already entered the realm of, if you like, a non-material reality as the underpinning to this world. Says Schrodinger, matter, he says, material, matter that you're so fixated on, says Schrodinger, is an appearance, mere appearance. That is a paradox. The underpinning is pristine and pure, but it is mathematical, not material, not object. Mathematical underpinning to this reality. So science has already actually progressed away from a very strong fixation on matter into kind of appreciating a more metaphysical underpinning, which you can call mathematical. But if you like, this stodgy, kind of this thinking within the box fixation on matter has not gone away. So it's still, major scientists struggle with the findings at the cutting edge of modern physics. How can you explain this creation, this reality, without reference to matter? Matter is an outer appearance, it's an epiphenomena. What is the underpinning? It's mathematical. But how can a mathematical thing turn into a material reality? We have no clue. Leave us alone, Mr. Lakhani. This is the fixation that science struggles with when it tries to explain the universe in terms of lumps of matter, objects, and its attributes. That is failing. And I keep thumping them. That's, what is it? Tell me, what is this thing that you're discovering? They say, don't ask, we have no vocabulary.
So science too is stuck in a rut at the moment. Just as religions are struggling with monotheist God, science is struggling with this phenomena, this fixation on matter, objectifying things, or trying to explain everything in terms of material things. It has lost the struggle. It has lost itself in 11 dimensions. It's not prepared to acknowledge it. So there sits science. Then we come to the third lobby. If I ask youth today, do you believe in religions? They say, no, we are spiritual, we are not religious. And of course, then my next question, what do you mean by spiritual? What do you mean by spiritual? They say, we like things like compassion and knowledge. Ah, I said, didn't I tell you? The first approach, the reason why these religious prophets were talking about this idea of becoming empowered, becoming compassionate, being knowledgeable, is being revisited in the guise of humanism. But humanism too is in a way stuck in a rut, because it is still kind of thinking in the box, literally in the box. It cannot think outside matter. So the likes of modern thinkers, humanist, is simply to say, Mr. Lakhani, we are really nothing but the extension of the material kingdom. Live with it, grow up. All this airy-fairy, floaty stuff doesn't work. We are just nothing but, if you like, an epiphenomena of matter, little carbon and hydrogen, nitrogen, mixing itself together through accidents of evolution until it becomes this complex. There's nothing more to you, Mr. Lakhani. This is where I part company with the humanist. The tradition that I come from has no difficulty with Darwin, who says we are a continuation of the animal kingdom. Sure we are. But we are not the extension of the material kingdom. There is something dramatically different about us, which cannot be explained in material terms. This is where I part company. And this is where I introduce the word, not materialistic humanism, but spiritual humanism. You are much more than matter. You require this material frame to express this thing, and yet you are not the extension of the material kingdom. This is the enterprise of science. See, this is the, if you like, the apex of this particular vision regarding what humanity, what life is all about. We are not in compliance with physical forces, we are in defiance of it. Right from the smallest bacteria, you try and prod it, it'll go, ouch, stop it. Doesn't like to be pushed about. This is the sign of life. You see, this is a great contrast from the materialistic humanism. We say we are just nothing but the extension of the material kingdom. If that is the case, why should we stand up against natural force? We should let them flow over us and knock us about. Where is the dignity? Where is the human dignity when you say you're nothing more than a lump of matter? This is where the word spiritual humanism comes into its own. When you meet a spiritual humanist, his eyes light up, his face lights up, because he sees himself reflected in you. A spiritual humanist can tell you not how to live with each other, that's called commerce. Teach you how to live for each other. Spiritual humanism is the way. My friends, that is my comment. We are not material beings aspiring to spirituality to improve our material status. We are essentially spiritual beings on a material journey. Thank you, my friends.
So there we see a wonderful message from Jai Bhai, and this was presented at TEDx Warwickshire University. Sitaben, any comment on his work on science and spirituality?
Yeah, I mean, as he was saying in the video, he's not some kind of hippie kind of, airy fairy, floaty. He really does come from that sort of pedigree. And, as even Tony was saying, like physics was his passion. He didn't care about biology. He cared about physics and mathematics, and that was his passion. But even more so, his passion was spirituality. And at the heart of science, you kind of find this sort of, there is a need to transition and make that leap from a materialistic approach to a spiritual approach, because science cannot go any further. It's kind of hitting its head on a brick wall, and unless it sort of gets through that brick wall, non-material, then it's going to sort of really cause a great deal of synergy with the sort of realm of spirituality, and it can have such a big impact on the world and the way we look at the world. Because, you know, even in some of the plays that Dad wrote, you know, this idea that we are stuck in a rat race, we are living such a materialistic life. If this idea of spirituality is infused into the mainstream through the sort of scientific endeavor, then it can completely transform our lives. And I think we are really, it's high time that, you know, there's this need for this transition, and that's what Dad was so passionate about. Jaibai, anything to add?
All I can say is, yeah, some of his best lectures are on idea of science and spirituality. But just to keep in mind, it's not only just physics and spirituality, also biology and spirituality. These are some more interesting lectures on that as well, which I guess you can get them on YouTube. And again, the same thing, I have seen him actually challenge some of his professors. And the key question is, where does consciousness come from? And the answer is, we don't know, but we still use matter as the final point. So as Sita mentioned, the crossover, that barrier from material to the consciousness, spiritual, is still a gap there. And I think Jaibai has been trying quite hard to bridge that gap. But hopefully science one day will move from the rut that they are in at the moment. Let's see how it plays out. Yeah.
Wonderful. So Jaibai and Tony also, they're very keen on science, and they discuss this at length. And let's see what's Tony's point of view on this, his work of science and spirituality. So
Einstein went to ask, do you believe in God? Yes, I believe in God if God is all the laws of physics, known and unknown. And that includes the laws of the theory of everything. So he believed in physics. God equates to physics. And Dilip was a bit like that too. I think and Vivekananda did predict science and religion will walk hand in hand in the future. Poetry and philosophy were two like brothers and sisters and so on. So, but he said this will happen in about 1,000 years' time. And I told Dilip for many years, yes, it's true, you're trying to draw parallels between theoretical physics and the Vedanta philosophy. And you were supposed to do a PhD at Cambridge on physics and Vedanta, spirituality of India. But his father died and he had to take over the import business. But later on, he would open schools of Hinduism and get people to do GCSE Hinduism and AS level, A-level Hinduism. And then he would try his best to draw parallels between theoretical physics, the world of theoretical physics, and Vedanta philosophy. But I told to Vidila, we just don't know enough. Theoretical physics is only 100. Physics is about 400, 500 years old, from the days of Newton, Isaac Newton. And theoretical physics from Einstein's days is about 100 years old. And Vivekananda said it would take 1,000 years to sort out what Vedanta really means in terms of science. So we have to be very patient there. And in the back of my mind said, you'll have to be born again, again, and again, and again, and again, and again, and again, to see the day when physics and spirituality are twin views of the same reality.
So wonderful message there from so Tony. He is quoting Swami Vivekananda, said that this would happen, but it would take probably 1,000 years. So there's a long way to go for science and spirituality to meet and shake hands. But Jaibai did try, really hard to push that boundary. And who knows, if he had done that PhD and focused on that for 3-4 years, we could have had something, major coming through. But we live in wonder. So That's the thing, his approach was scientific. He said, let's stay in the modern world and relate to spirituality in rational manner. And that's very important to keep the rational faculty on. Sita Ben, any messages before we move on to next?
Yeah, I mean, as Tony said, we're just sort of waiting for that, that moment when the two sort of different disciplines converge and can really benefit humanity in so many ways. Like we're all, the sort of biggest sort of strife that we have at the moment is sort of mental wellness, mental health, even more so than physical, you could argue, because all of us go through so much mental stress living in such a materialistic way. So having spirituality infused into the whole system would be a great relief, I think. It's like a dry desert at the moment. We need that sort of wonderful nectar of spirituality to infuse everything and just make everyone feel much better about themselves. Jay Bhai?
Yeah, all I can add is that, for Jay Bhai, there was absolutely no doubt that if the truth is actually one, then no matter what avenues you pursue to find that truth, whether it's through science or spirituality, it has to be the same goal. And that I don't think Jay Bhai any doubt about that. And this is what he's been trying to say in all these videos, that at the essence of physics or biology, whatever, the essence of truth, which everybody's trying to find, that's what science is doing anyway, is to find the truth of the universe, or what is really true. And the ultimate truth, no matter what path you take, though as wide and different they may be, it's one. And that's the goal. I think that, as Tony mentioned, that 1,000 years, but I think Jay Bhai has already got the ball rolling. He has no doubt in his mind, and he does so many lectures to get that ball rolling. Yeah.
Thank you, Vijay Bhai. Nisib Bhai, next video, please. Tribute from.
Namaste, everyone. Jay Lakhani was a very dear friend and a great ambassador for the Hindu Dharma. Science is the language of today, and especially the language of young people. And it's so important that we reach them through the language that they like, understand, and can relate to. Jay Lakhani did all of that. He was a very eloquent speaker, a good writer, and he was also passionate about education. He set up the GCSE O and A level for Hinduism, and he inspired Sita also to do amazing work with children and young people. And his legacy really lives on. I was glad to have introduced him to Astha channel, who recorded him and broadcast him. So he became world famous. But he also participated in meetings with the BBC and in media work generally to transform that understanding of Hinduism and Hindu Dharma. I myself am passionate about this topic, and I have been doing this work in the context of the Jain Dharma for over 30 years and continue to do that. And as a professor in a British university, I have an academic platform to be able to do that. Thank you, and may he rest in peace. Om Shanti.
Wonderful tribute from Atul Baisa, who presents and lectures about Jainism in various places at the UK. We'll read out some tributes from last week's online session. If you, yes. So Charmaine said, years from now, Mr. Jay Lakhani's name will be remembered the same reverence as Swami Vivekananda and Sri Ramakrishna. A true spiritual giant. He's so loved and missed. It's only really sinking in now how fortunate we were to have the honor of having been taught by such a great, such a dynamic personality. Oneness said Jai Bhai has triggered an answer for science that beyond a certain point, for humanity as a whole, the final answer lies in one's own personal experience. Spiritual humanism is the path to the same. Paula Kello said, "Hello everyone, Jai Bhai has given so much positivity to every one of us. I'm thankful forever." Ashish Agarwal says his lectures will transform a lot of youth around an entire world towards Sanatan Dharma. Mary Floyd said, "Heart fills for you, Sita. This message for you and team are so fortunate to have had first-hand guru experience. He was grooming all of you. All of you are priceless to humanity and Hinduism." Shreya Agarwal says, "Jai Lakhani sir was a physics professor and modern day Hindu tutor. Only goes on to show how Hinduism and science go hand in hand. And his life was truly exemplary. The modern youth can take inspiration and take his legacy forward. Gone too soon, Jai sir. Om Shanti." These are some of the messages we saw last week, and thank you for all your wonderful messages. Unfortunately, we can't read out all of them, but we thank you for all of them and your support throughout the session. We'll take next video, which is, as Tony said, he will have to be born forever, again and again and again, for thousands of years, to get merged as science with spirituality. So did he want to be born again and again? Let's watch the video. Nisit Bhai? Sorry, this is a message of strength.
I want to tap into power. Infinite power. So Hanuman stands for that, Bala. The second thing Hanuman stands for is Buddhi. Buddhi. This ability to, in order for us to really express this Bala, the way you invoke Bala or strength, and you don't know how we invoke, if you forget, the Hindus are very bad at this. The way you invoke strength is through use of rationality. Don't underestimate the power of rationality. With Vivekananda becomes very visible. He says, if what I tell you makes sense to you, then accept it. If I tell you something that does not make sense to you, reject it immediately. Another unique feature of Vivekananda is this. Most prophets will say, look, come and sit near me, come near me, sit at my feet, and I'll protect you and I'll look after you. Just leave it to me. Come and sit at my feet and worship me. Now with Vivekananda, you see there's no picture of Vivekananda here. Do you know why? If I start worshipping a picture of Vivekananda here and start tinkling bells in front of him, I tell you, he will come out of the picture and smack me. He will say, look, you missed the point, don't you understand? I don't want you to bow down to me. Look at it, these are his words. Don't bow down to me. For how many generations, for how many lifetimes have you been bowing down to prophets and sages and seers and breaking your backbone? Stop being a creepy crawly. Stand up on your own feet and find your own destination. Find your own spiritual destination. You assert yourself. Look at the language. In fact, I shudder to say it. He says, don't bow down to Vivekananda. And I shudder with the next sentence. He says, become better than a Vivekananda. Better. Look at the power of the modern prophet. He's not worried that you might surpass him. He wants you to surpass him. He said, come on, grow up. This is the power of strength. This is why Bala, Buddhi, unique feature.
Wonderful message and video from Jai Bhai. And I believe this was his message to us. I don't think he wanted us to put his picture and start worshiping. He wanted us to be strong like that and continue his work. Vijay Bhai, your take on what's Jai Bhai's message to everyone is?
Yeah, I've seen it actually firsthand. There are sometimes here the students are so inspired by him. And they go to Jai Bhai, you're my guru, you're my guru. You don't say that. He actually warns them. You better become your own guru, be your own master, yes? So I've seen that quite a few times. Because I think he was trying to make everybody realize actually you have immense inner strength in you. Be your own supreme master. Do your own, follow your own spiritual journey. And as he's mentioned, don't bow down to others. I think that it may sound hard because we're all used to following somebody, yeah. But even if you have a guru, I mean, I have Jai Baba was my guru, but you always should get the message and take it as your own and progress. Don't get stuck in the guru itself. Yes, this is what he was saying. Gurus are to guide you so you become stronger and strength, right? But you don't always remain that. So always find your own path. That was, I think, I've seen actually once or twice, and people say, "Oh, Jai Bhai, you're my guru, you're my savior." Because I'm not your savior. You are your own savior, and that's something he always mentioned. And I think that shows his magnanimity. How he saw every human being. And it's quite interesting that, when he used to go for lectures and everything, and I was telling him, look, how come there's so many people calling you, why keep on saying yes? And he goes, what can I do? My God is calling me. How can I say no? So the thing is this, that to him, every living thing was, connected and equally, equally strong. So it's not like saying, I'm a teacher and you guys, much. No, he didn't see it like that. Every spirit was divine. That's how we saw everything. That's the uniqueness. And that's what really draws me closer to him. But yeah, there you go, Asita, man.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what it is. If anyone called Dad Guru, he would really not like. He was just saying, no. It's the same message as Swami Vivekananda, this idea of just being strong in yourself, learning what you can from those around you, but then building on that, standing on the sort of shoulders of giants and becoming even better. And that's the whole progression of humanity, is to just sort of keep building up ourselves, building that strength within ourselves and becoming better human beings and having a greater and greater impact on those around us.
Wonderful. Thank you, Sita Ben, for that. Is it by next tribute, please?
Yes, indeed. So we have a tribute from Charmaine, who's been a very regular viewer of ours from South Africa, I believe. Let me share that tribute, and then I'll read out some of the messages that we've received on YouTube today as well. So here we go.
Namaste, everyone. Thank you for this opportunity, Hindu Academy, to pay tribute to our beloved teacher, Sri Jai Lakhani. He's left such an indelible impression on me that to pick out a few points would be a bit unfair, but under the circumstances, I guess that this is the best that we can do. For me, having a teacher who I have no doubt had gotten a glimpse of the divine in, and who went into these two worlds, as he so called it, and took us along with him. He was so humble, so self-effacing, so devoid of ego. And I know that everything that he spoke about was something that he experienced, and I'm so grateful for that. The second point is the empowerment of women. As a modern-day woman and a mother and a working person, he made it so easy to be able to be spiritual as a householder and a working woman. And he always had such respect and imposed such dignity on the role of women in society, which was so severely lacking. And I'm so grateful to him for that. The third thing is his vision of seeing God in humanity. He taught us to be spiritual in so many ways. And perhaps the greatest irony is that while we're always asking questions about which God to worship, we were looking at probably the purest form of God in human form at this point in our history. In him, I see Sri Ram, who in his words flicked away his kingdom to fulfill his dharma and to serve. I see in him Lord Krishna, who put us in the middle of the battlefield of life and taught us that there's many ways to be spiritual. I see in him Mother Saraswati, a fountain of knowledge. I see in him the Buddha, all loving and all compassionate. We love you and we miss you, and in our small way we will try to carry on your teachings. Sri Lakhani, thank you again. Namaste.
Nisib, you're mute.
So some really lovely tributes have come in on YouTube as well. Thank you, Charmaine, for that. And we have Pratik Patel, who just said, hello, I'm 22. I just love Jay Lakhani, sir, so much. He's given me a new outlook towards spirituality, which is so rational. It captures any young person immediately. His storytelling style and humor won my heart. We also have Indik Rashtra saying, Jay sir was amongst the greatest Hindu scholars in the world. We have You Don't Know Me says Jay Bhai was a legend. And we have another user saying it was Jay Lakhani who enabled me to go down the rabbit hole when it comes to religion and spirituality. Mary Floyd says, he surely did walk the walk. He was just so magnificent. He won my heart and soul in my stormy path. He was the beacon in the storm of my soul. And so many other wonderful messages. In fact, a lot of people have enjoyed the videos. Manish Bhai, thank you so much for organizing this, because a lot of people are saying that wonderful messages which are shared in a relatable and engaging manner, and some brilliant messages here. That's what I see. And there are plenty more to come yet, but I don't want to extend the session too much. We can carry on with the rest of it.
Thank you, Nisib Bhai. Wonderful messages, viewers. We thank you for that. And Jay Bhai's special object of worship was humanity, the people he saw and the people he interacted with, and he saw spirituality everywhere in everyone. And many people say Om Santi and rest in peace and all these things. Did he wanted peace? Did he wanted moksha and go away, or did he wanted to come back again and do this again? Let's have a video of May I Be Born Again and Again.
Later ages. You see, Vivekananda recognized this. He was not here for his own salvation. In fact, these are his words. Look at the words. He said, again, you see, when I see this kind of very sharp language, it gives me a thrill. He said, let me be born again and again, to undergo thousands of sufferings so that I can only worship the only God I believe in, the sum total of humanity. He says, salvation, he said, give it to the saints. Let them all go off. Like both bothersome, they keep singing and dancing, let them go. Off they go. As long as you, my Lord, are going to take on these forms and interact and play here, I am going to be your eternal playmate. I will come here and interact. Look, he doesn't say I'm going to save you and help you. I want to interact with you. As long as you take on these forms, I don't want to disappear. I'm going to come here and play with you, my Lord. Until everybody achieves salvation, there's nobody left to play. Then I say, okay, my game is over. Then I get merged into the absolute. But as long as you want to mess about like this, I will play with you. Only a person of the caliber of, look, he's challenging God, saying, give salvation to others, leave me out. He's challenging, who dares? Tell me, who dares? This Vivekananda dared. Give it to others. I will play with you here. As long as you mess about, I mess about with you. You can't send me off. I'll continue to play. You know the little children, when you are kind of watching TV, they say, no, I want to watch TV. They say, no, time you past your bedtime. No. Like that. No, as long as you are here, my bedtime is not there. I play with you, my Lord. Only a person of this caliber can challenge the Lord and throw his salvation back in his face. You keep it. This Vivekananda was like that.
Wonderful message from Jay Bhai. Such a powerful message, and I believe he meant it for himself as well. Sita,
yeah. I know that Dad is still around for sure, and he continues to inspire us and guide us, and we can't compare to him, but we just try our best and carry on.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. We have to carry on. I mean, as Sita said, he's still around. He's still living. I mean, I talked to my wife, Kanta, and she has not accepted that Jay Pai is not real. She will never accept that. For her, he lives through his words, his powerful message, and that will live for a long, long time. I think this is something you see directly as the videos show, that same with Vivekananda. If you read his teachings, they're so inspiring. I mean, like every kind of penny he made, every kind of cent or dollar he made in the US from the talks that he was giving, it wasn't him, somebody's collecting money on his behalf. Everything was spent in building Ramakrishna Mission. Why? Because he wants to uplift the God in every human being. So he saw the divine, and that was his message. And Jay Bai is no different. The idea of seeing divinity in every human being and uplifting them. As Sita mentions the idea of chocolate, I remember one incident when I was running a long 3-hour session of Hinduism classes, and we didn't have chocolates. She goes, "We have to go buy them now." He goes, "I don't want my goat to starve." So anyway, so this is how we should live. So it's direct from Vivekananda. You see this major trait of seeing every the divinity in every human being coming out from Jay Bai as well. And that's the message I think we should take from this. Yeah. Manish Bhai.
Wonderful words of wisdom. Nisit Bhai, do you want to share anything on that, your experience, before we play the last video? Okay, so basically last video is about what he saw as how this message will continue. So let's hear about what he wanted to say on how the Sanatana Dharma will spread to the world. Thanks, Sidbhai.
We see other Abrahamic faiths doing this thing. They spread the word about their religion. They've got people sharing books and, coming to your doorstep or wherever, and they are spreading the message about how good their religion is. Why is it that Hindus don't do this?
You see, we are not a proselytizing religion. We recognize different human beings, we attracted to different prophets, different traditions, we allow for it. We don't step on their tradition. We say this is how they've been flowing for thousands of years, let them continue to flow in that direction. Mm-hmm. So it's like a river is coming down from one side of the mountain, you can't say, go up at the top and come back the Hindu way. We say, let it carry on. So we encourage them to progress to their destination. We don't mind. At the same time, how do we promote these wonderful ideas? Of course, I can have Nishit Bhai and Manish Bhai here to start going door to door, putting our pamphlets saying spiritual humanism and all this lovely stuff. And of course, they're going to get dogs barking at them and all that. But now we are so fortunate, we don't have to do that anymore. We don't have to shove literature in somebody's letterbox. We don't have to stand in the corner and try and persuade people to focus or follow us. We don't need that. You could see these gizmos now. It is doing our work million-fold more faster and better than we can ever do physically. So it is these gizmos we are using now, not books. It is these gizmos we are using and the potent message we are pushing out that will in a way carry and enter forget about going into every household, it goes into every pocket, and every little thing, they're looking at it in the train, wherever. So these gizmos are the best carrier of these potent ideas of Hinduism. And I'm very sure, like it or not, within 10 years, these gizmos will in a way push Hinduism back in the steering, in a position of influence in the rest of the world. We are nearly there. The world is beginning to listen to us, saying, oh, the cows should not be murdered, and so on. So slowly, all this idea that the heart of Hinduism will become more visible in a very organic and natural manner without us thumping our rubber stamp, Hindu. It will come natural, it's happening anyway.
That clip sure brings back some memories of me and Jay Bai in the office in the early days when it was just the two of us. And the reason I kept looking down is because I'm busy with two devices trying to manage Facebook and YouTube comments whilst we are engaging with the audience. And it brings back some really lovely memories. And it just reminds me how passionate Jay Bai was to convey the message across, different mediums.
That's it from us. I don't think we have any more new material. Any final messages, Vijay Bhai and Sita?
Yeah, all I can say is that, Jay Bai has been an immense inspiration for us. Regarding the last video, Actually, I have actually asked him the same question, that we have all these religions, proselytizing and they want to expand. And one thing he told me, which is again, quoting Vivekananda, which is that every human being is different. I think Vivekananda asked in America as well this question. You worship, 330 million gods. And he goes, not true. We worship as many gods as they're human beings. And what Jay used to remind me all the time, I used to sometimes get a bit upset, I think like many Hindus, that they all this proselytizing religion expanding so fast. And he goes, it doesn't happen. It's not in the nature of man to do that. Every human being has got this divine spirit. He will not keep on bowing. Ultimately, they'll find their own spot. So he goes, don't worry, it will happen. You just watch. He goes to me, yes. You don't have to do any work. The essence and nature of human being is divine. And they will eventually, look, you cannot, it's not possible. The way humanity works is that no matter how much you try to bring them together, like believe in one kind of belief, eventually they make groups. You see that in all religions, they've made different groups. Why? As you make it bigger and bigger, they make their own groups. That's the nature of humanity. And I think the idea of pluralism actually demonstrates that fact. Because don't worry, it just happened. You watch. I said, okay, fine. So amazing stuff from Jay Bhai. I really miss all these talks, but yeah. Sita Ben, last words.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people just see, the videos and what he says on the videos, but I was lucky enough to see, him, throughout my whole life, and he really lived these ideals. Every aspect of his life was just infused with this seeing God in humanity, and he loved people. He would literally, if he's inside the house and he sees the neighbor's child outside, he would literally run out and give them something or give them a toy. Anything he could grab from around the house, he would just go and give it. And that's just what he was like. So a lot to learn from him.
Wonderful messages, Sita Ben Vijay Bhai. And many people ask us, how do we get involved and how can we help? Learn from him, your own method, your own ways. Try to understand and give it out to the world. You got all these gizmos, you got YouTube, you got Facebook, all these new tools, TikToks coming. Please do your own way. You don't have to join Hindu Academy, come here. You can do it on your own way. And I don't think he wanted to build a central organization and say, everybody come under this one umbrella and work together. No, he wanted decentralized way. He wanted people to understand spirituality in their own way and then do their own work. It's like just spread the seeds everywhere and let them flourish. And that's what his plan was for Hindu Academy. That's what I think. Sita Ben Vijay Bhai may agree, disagree on that.
No, I agree. Absolutely agree, Manish Bhai. Yes. Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. And I think this is where we say bye-bye. Thank you, everyone. And do we want to play this video again? Last week's thank you video. We'll have to find it. Shall we play that or shall we end it?
While you look for this, I will share, as we always end our sessions with a quote from Swami Vivekananda. Taking into mind what Manish Bhai said, I'm going to share a quote which I found very appropriate, which is, take up one idea, make that one idea your life, think of it, dream of it, live on that idea. And that is, we're talking about spreading the word about modern Hinduism. Thank you so much for all the audience who have participated in such an engaging manner, for all your kind words that you've shared with us. Many of your tributes I've not been able to share on the screen here, but it really is a humbling thing to see how many thousands of lives Jay Bhai must have touched over the many years that he's been involved in sharing about modern Hinduism. So thank you very much for that. And of course, I'm always grateful to the wonderful team here who turn up every week and answer questions that fly left, right, and center to them. And so Vijay Bhai, thank you very much for that, Sita Ben and Manish Bhai. And I think a lot of credit goes to Manish Bhai for today's session as well. Thank you for organizing this. A lot of people have expressed their thanks for being able to see this side of Jay Bhai over the last 2 weeks, which they maybe have never known about. And so it's a good way to pay tribute and celebrate his life. Do you have the video ready, Manish?
Wonderful. Yes, I have the video ready. Thank you, Nisad Bhai. Let's play the video, and it's Jay Bhai working through me. There's nothing about me there. Let's play the video.
Ladies and gentlemen, just one more moment of your time. Dilip Bhai has offered thanks to everyone for coming, but on behalf of all the children from Vivekananda class, we would like to thank Dilip Bhai for making today possible. He has helped us in this. He's been preparing for this for the last 3 months. He's been coming to Birmingham, he's been going to Leicester, directing these plays, and I'm sure you all remember the play about he acted the part of Butcher to show us. You remember the city? He did it. We would like to thank Dilip Bhai and his wife. She has been supporting him a lot throughout this. And we'd like to offer him a token of our appreciation. Arjun and Anika, could you please come with the bouquet? Dilip Bhai and Minandi, could you please come to the stage?
I will now end the broadcast here. Thank you all so much for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you next week when normal service will resume with a Q&A